Everybody, Manny here once again. Welcome to DFS Zone, your source for daily fantasy sport lineup advice for the NFL and the NBA. Got a brand new video to share with you guys today. We're going to talk about week 5 of the NFL, some of the best possible plays we may have at running back this week. But before I get started with the video, like always, guys, I appreciate you guys drop a like. Definitely helps my channel. I greatly appreciate it. If you're new to the channel and you have not as of yet subscribed, please subscribe down below, put on your post notifications, especially if you want to be able to get your NFL and NBA content on a regular basis. I do have a live show that I conduct for the NFL every Saturday night at 7 p.m. and we'll be doing the live before lock NBA shows 4 or 5 times a week during the course of the week for the NBA season. So if you don't want to miss out on any of that content, all that great information that'll be coming your way, definitely subscribe down below, put on those post notifications, and this way you don't miss out on any of that. All right, with that all being said, we're going to discuss this week's slate, and we're going to discuss the running backs on this video. I'm going to give you three. I got 3 running backs I want to share with you, but before I give you those 3, I always like to recap the plays I gave you last week. Last week I gave you Melvin Gordon, Zeke Elliott, and Saquon Barkley of the Giants, and all 3 did fantastic. Obviously, Elliott had the big game, 32 Fanduel points. Melvin Gordon had 27.4, and he put up 33.9 on DK. And Barkley had 22 on DK, 19 here on Fanduel. All 3 were excellent picks. Would have loved the Giant game to be the explosive game that I had hoped for and that Vegas had hoped for, but it did not turn out that way. But nonetheless, the young man did have a decent game. So, but if you had any one of these 3 guys in your lineups, I'm sure you did fairly well. But Melvin Gordon and Zeke Elliott had the best games last week. Let's see what happens this week. Last week, I kind of favored the running backs in the top tier. That's why I had those. This week, I'm only going to go with one top tier running back, and that is Mr. Melvin Gordon. I just have my eyes and my whole. I'm definitely going to have a lot of exposure to this guy in this week's slate. He's in a great matchup here. Second highest implied total game here between the Chargers and the Oakland Raiders. Got 53.5 with the Chargers, 29.5, and Oakland 24. Melvin Gordon, as you can see, is 8,700 here on FanDuel. He is 8,600 on DK. Love Melvin Gordon, dual threat back. As you guys know me here, I love dual threat backs. I've been saying this since the beginning of the year. I love dual threat quarterbacks. I gave you guys some sound quarterbacks earlier. I think this week you could get by on one stud running back and then pay down at running back and then pay up a little bit on your stud receivers, because I think the quarterback, with the correlation with the quarterback and one of his receivers on each matchup is going to be really integral in your lineups this week. I really think they're going to do very well. I think the fantasy point totals are going to be higher there, but this guy here should have the best possible game here. Got to have a lot of exposure to Melvin Gordon. He may be highly owned. I won't say chalky. Chalky, for me, at least in my opinion, has got to be over 35%, 40% on a main slate like this. It's such a big slate. I don't foresee him being 60, 70% or 50% owned, but he's going to be someone that's going to be put in a lot of people's lineups. He definitely is going to be definitely be put on mine on most of my lineups. But Melvin Gordon, like I said, 69 yards per game, 5 TDs, averaging 23.4 FanDuel points. He did have 2 27-point games. He is capable of putting up 30. I've seen him do it before. The Chargers come in. They're the 6th best rushing offense in the NFL right now, 124.8 yards per game with 2 touchdowns, 5.3 yards per carry. The 5.3 yards per carry is the 4th best in the NFL. So, and that obviously is all due to Melvin Gordon in that backfield. Melvin Gordon is also 13th in the league as far as running backs, as far as attempts, rushing attempts. He has 54 of them altogether, averaging 5.1 yards per carry. In the red zone, my friend, he's doing he has 8 receptions, 43 yards. I mean, 8 rushes for 43 yards and 2 TDs. So he's done very well in the red zone for the Chargers. Chargers are going up, and he's going up against the Oakland Raiders, who have looked pretty bad on defense. If they're going to continue to give up 30 or 40 points a game, it's going to be. I love the way the offense is really starting to gel in Oakland, as I already gave you Derek Carr as one of the quarterbacks this week. But the defense is definitely going to have to pick it up. They're 30th in the league in rushing defense, 139.3 yards per game, coughing up 5 TDs, 5.6 yards per carry. Oakland has also been coughing up to the dual threat backs, 13 receptions, 124 yards, and 1 TD. They have They are the 10th most NFL fantasy points given up per game, 29.1 DK points, 25.2 Fanduel points. So, I mean, again, I just love the matchup. I think he's in an excellent, excellent spot. And the beauty about Melvin Gordon is that he is so explosive that he can definitely just change a whole game around with just one play. He's a one-play, wonder here. He's a guy that he can take he could take one rushing play or one receiving play and make it into a 30, 40 yard a gain and possibly even a touchdown. He is that dramatic. He's a big playmaker on the open field. So love Melvin Gordon here. I think he is an excellent play here against the Oakland Raiders. My next guy, I like McCaffrey here against the Giants, but I'm not going to go. I'm sure there's going to be some exposure to McCaffrey. I will have some exposure to McCaffrey for you guys who are my viewers and follow me. I definitely will have some of him. I'm going to have more of him than I would have Barkley. Definitely like Hunt here against Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville hasn't seen anybody like Kareem Hunt in this offense, but we will see. I will not play Hunt this week just due to the matchup, just to see how well Jacksonville is able to handle Patrick Mahomes and company. But I think that Kansas City is the real deal in offense, and I think Jacksonville is going to have their hands full with that offense, but we'll see if they can neutralize it. I'm not on James Conner. For me, he just doesn't get enough attempts. Since week 1, he has really not gotten enough touches, So this is a great matchup for him. But the way Pittsburgh's been going is they're just focusing on just throwing that football. They are pass-oriented. Their playmaking, their whole mindset offensively is pass first. And that's why I have Ben Roethlisberger as one of my quarterbacks that I suggested and recommended to you guys this week. So I'm not on Conner. David Johnson, DJ, definitely like DJ here. I love his DK price. He will be someone I'm going to be looking over a little bit more during the course of the week. I'm not on him here, but I'm going to share with you. Let's go right to him. I think Marshawn Lynch is someone to consider too. But we're going to go all the way down to Matt Breida. The longest that shoulder is good. I love Matt Breida in this matchup. I hope he is feeling a lot better with the shoulder. I don't see no reason why he will not play. But Matt Breida, 6,200 here, 57 on DK. He only averaging 12.7, but he has 20-point upside. He has 20-point upside. He did it once here before. And he's more than capable of it. He's shown very good numbers. He's 3rd in the league in rushing. Now check this out. 3rd in the league in rushing. He's only had 41 attempts. He's averaging 7.6 yards per carry on 41 attempts. He has 313 yards, averaging 78.3 yards per game. He's number 1 in the league, okay, as far as yards per carry at 7.6 yards per carry, because he's only had 41 attempts. He's done that on 41 attempts. And all your major guys like Gurley, all these other bigger running backs, Hunt, these guys have all had more than 68 attempts, some of them in the 70s. And this young man has been doing this all here. Now, what they need to do is continue to give the young man opportunities. And that's what I'm hoping for here. I'm hoping that they see that they need to give this guy more targets and more touches. 12 touches last week. That's not enough. The week before that, only 13. He did have 15 in game 2 and 13 in game 1. Give this kid, he's averaging 13, so he pretty much is giving you almost 1 fantasy point per touch, if you want to break it down that way, close to it, more than 1 fantasy point per touch. Give this guy like 20 touches, and let's see what he can do. So that's what I'm hoping for here today. Give him some touches. He has had a 66-yard run this year, and he's had 6 20-plus running rushes this year. He's had 6 times that he ran the ball for 20 yards or more. That's the most in the NFL. The only little setback that Matt Breida has is that he's not been getting the ball or not been really effective in getting touchdowns. He's only had 1 touchdown all year. He's also had 10 receptions for 85 yards for 8.5 yards per catch. So he's very good at receiving the ball and getting yardage. I mean, we got to give this kid the ball some more, man. They're going up against Arizona. Their rushing defense is 31st in the league. Pretty much second to last, giving up 141.3 yards per game. And the biggest number here, 7 touchdowns to running backs this year. 7 TDs. It's the most in the NFL. They also have coughed up 21 receptions to running backs for 231 yards. That's 11 yards a catch with 1 TD. Coughing up 38 fantasy points on DK per game and 34.4 Fanduel. That is the second most fantasy points in the NFL for this position. So if San Francisco is not looking at these numbers and they're not getting a game plan ready to get this kid more touches, then they're going to find themselves that they're probably not going to win this game. But they are at home, and I expect the kid to play, and I expect him to do very well here. San Francisco in the red zone as an offense has not looked very good. That's one area that I'm a little concerned with. 37.5% in conversion ratio. They're getting opportunities. They've been in there in the red zone per game 4 times a game. Only 1 TD and 1 field goal. They need to convert a little bit more, and it all starts with getting this man the football. All right. Arizona's opponents, they've been coughing up to the opponents 60% conversion. Opponents have been getting 3.5 times in the red zone against the Cardinals and scoring 2 TDs. So they have been scoring enough. I think if San Francisco can get in the red zone, get this kid more involved, they'll be able to turn over. They'll be able to turn over and get a better conversion ratio in the red zone. So again, I really love this guy. And another thing also about Arizona, they have given up 3 100-yard games total to 3 out of their 4 opponents, and one opponent put up nearly 80, 85 total yards rushing. So they have had their trouble stopping the run. Pound the ball with Matt Breida. Let's get it going. I love Matt Breida here for the price of $5,700 on DK and $6,200 for him here on Fanduel. The other gentleman that I like is going to be somebody that obviously most people are going to talk about, but he's in a good matchup too. Is Aaron Jones, man. Aaron Jones for Green Bay going up against Detroit. Detroit is the worst team in the NFL in defending the rush right now. They need to realize that they just had a tough time with Ezekiel Elliott. Granted, Aaron Jones is not Ezekiel Elliott, but you know what? He has similar skill sets. He's capable of catching the ball. He runs fairly well between the tackles. He has pretty decent speed. Just give the guy the football. Give him a chance. Build a running game here. Take advantage of Detroit's weakness. So hopefully they'll take that into consideration. Small sample for Aaron Jones. He's only played 2 games. You can see pretty much 17 rushes. He's got about 100 and what do you got here? I got 107 yards if you calculate that. Only 1 touchdown. Only 2 targets, but he's caught both of them for 22 yards. You know, he's putting up not 10 fantasy points, but as you can see in the last game, he put up 14 against Buffalo. Buffalo was one of the better defending rushing teams, and he was still able to put up 65 rushing yards. You're going up against the weakest team defending the rush. You got to take advantage of that. You got to take advantage of it. He is averaging 6.3 yards per rush. Now, granted, he is not in this. He hasn't had enough touches in enough games to qualify for that, but that would be like the 3rd best rushing per yards per rush in the league if he would have gotten a 3rd game in here and had more rushing attempts. But because of the lack of rushing attempts, he doesn't qualify. But overall, still 6.3 yards per rush. Detroit, like I said, worst rushing offense in the league, 157.8 yards per game given up to the opposition, 3 touchdowns. 5.3 yards per rush is 30th worst in the league, so they're giving up at least more than 5 yards a carry. Their receivers, the running backs, have been catching 23 receptions for 204 yards and 2 touchdowns. They're coughing up 35.7 DK and 30.8 Fanduel points to running backs. That is huge. They just finished giving, like I said, Elliott 152 yards on the ground and another 80 somewhat through the air as a dual threat back. So I do not expect them to give up that kind of numbers to Aaron Jones, but I'm hoping Green Bay puts a game plan together where they utilize Aaron Jones and give him more touches. And maybe, just maybe, this may turn out to be a very fantastic play. I mean, it may be more of a sleeper play if you think about it, because he's not someone that's going to be highly owned here, but I think he is someone that could be. I'm trying to give you guys options other than the studs. I did mention all the other ones that I think are definitely in play, and they surely are, but you got to find a couple of guys here that you can pay down on and pay up as far as receivers are concerned, because I think this week the receivers are going to put up tons of points with these high implied totals in these games. Let's discuss a little bit of how these guys have done as far as in the red zone. Detroit, the opposition is only averaging 35.7% in the red zone. They've gotten 3.5 opportunities in the red zone and only converting 1 TD and 1 field goal per game. So they have definitely shut down the offenses when they get down there in the red zone. Green Bay, in the other side of the ball, Green Bay, their offense is converting only 41.6% of the time with 3 opportunities in the red zone and only converting 1 TD and 1 field goal. Little disappointed on how Green Bay has been playing as an offense. They could be very explosive. They got enough talent. Randall Cobb is still a little banged up, but they got enough talent to really put up some big numbers. Hopefully this is the week they get it done and they also get Mr. Aaron Jones, AJ involved here and make it a very interesting week. And that's pretty much it. I will have some more value plays and touch up on some more value plays in every position on the Saturday night live show. So make sure you stay tuned. Again, drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe down below so you can get this information on a regular basis, not only for the NFL, but also the NBA. And with that, I will be back tomorrow with the wide receivers, my top picks of the week. It could be 2 players. It could be 3. It may even be 4. I think the receivers are going to be really, really interesting this coming week. A lot of fantasy points are going to be able to be made. So they definitely stay tuned and look at that video and watch it tomorrow. All right. With that, I give you guys